right. Welcome again, Ekabo. Today we are going to discuss the Ogbe Meji, one of the Itan or stories from the Ogbe Meji. This particular story starts with the proverb Mafi Wawa Bo La Fo Wawa. Mafi Wawa Bo La Fo Wawa. Which means what, Pastor?
Mouth was covered.
That's not, we're not doing this. Mafi Wawa Bo? Don't remember that one? What is it, Shay?
Do not hurry back from anything that requires patience.
Exactly. This was one of the first Odu that I ever had the pleasure of hearing recited by the Honorable Baba Metahoji Kofi Omawale Zanu Ibaratu. And he recited it in the old Christian church way. So it was very beautiful to hear him chant it. He was just my favorite wa wa la wa wa. It was very nice. But this particular Odu says, do not hurry back from anything that requires patience. Patience is su'uru in the Yoruba language. In this particular Odu, we are learning about the place and space called Endure Suffering Market. And Ogun had come out of the forest one day, and he looked down the path, he looked down the road, and he saw Shango Kabiesi approaching him. And behind Shango was this huge entourage. There were like people walking behind him. There were herds. His wives had all sorts of beautiful cloth, lovely beads, all types of adornment of all kinds, foods. People had the little baskets carrying fish and fowl on their head. I mean, it was just lavish abundance. And Ogun stopped Shango and said, where did you get all of this wealth and abundance? I'd like to have such wealth and abundance. Where did you go to get this? And Obakoso said, I had to go to Endure Suffering Market. And whoo, it's tough in there. There's a lot of suffering in there. It's rough. He said, and I had to go 3 times. And he was like, but you can't go over there. And Ogun was like, what? You're my brother? We're friends with it, so you telling me that I can't go? He was like, no, it's not a place for you. He was like, but if you go 3 times, you too will return with this type of wealth. And Ogun was like, okay, the wealth looks good. It's something that I would like to have. I'm a single man right now. I'd like to, have a nice woman by my side and for us to accumulate things together. But my brother said it's best for me not to go. And he knows me well, so I won't worry myself about this Endure Suffering Market. Keep on over here with this old blacksmithing that I was doing. Ogun went on like this, gang, got on back to his work, gang, 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 whatever he was making. So, that day becomes night and the next day arrives. And he sees Baba Obatala coming with a beautiful, pure white entourage. And his white Akbata just billowing out in the breeze. And all of his wives were wearing white. And the galas was just billowing. Obatala had herds of goats and chicken, and everything that he had was white. So every goat was blemishless white. And every chicken was blemishless white. And they were just walking. And the Bata drums was a cat, look at the cat, look at the cat, look at the cat. And the wives was dancing, oh. And Ogun was like, greetings, Baba, how are you? He don't belay to Baba because Baba is his elder. And he received his blessing. He was like, I'm fine, son, how are you doing? And he was like, I'm doing well, but obviously not as good as you. And as I see this lovely entourage of pure, blemishless white you have following behind you, and look at the wealth and abundance that you have accumulated. What in the world did you do? What's your secret? As we would say in this day and time, how can I be down? So he wanted to know, what can I do to accumulate this type of wealth for myself? And Obatala said, well, I had to do what most have to do. I had to make a stop into Endure Suffering Market. Like, oh man, Endure Suffering Market is terrible. It's a terrible place. He said, but once I had gone 3 times, I was able to accumulate this wealth and abundance that you see before you now. He was like, but unfortunately, son, it's not really the place for you. And Ogun was like, Obakoso said the same thing. He was like, what do I mean? What type of shortcoming do I have that you guys feel that I am not prepared to have such wealth and abundance? He was like, no, it's not a shortcoming in you. It's the rule that they have at Endure Suffering Market. He was like, well, what rule is this that I would not be able to follow? I'm a disciplined man. He was like, nah, no, dude. You are disciplined. This is true. No one else could, create and have the time to turn metal into liquid like you do. Nobody would take the time to do that. He was like, but you can't do this. This is just against your person. This is against the whole entity that is Ogun. He was like, well, tell me, what's the rule? Just let me know. He was like, and it's just one rule, but you couldn't make it. He was like, okay. When you enter Endure Suffering Market, you cannot take any weapon. And was like, okay, yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. Then he looked and he saw that weapon. And he looked again. And then just as he was thinking about it, Obakoso walked by again with all of his weapons. I think I can do it, Obatala. I think I can. It's all right. I only have to go 3 times, right? I just have to be without my weapons for that time. Obatala was like, Ogun, I've never known you to be without a weapon. From the time you was born, you came right out the womb and reached over and grabbed the machete. He was like, you had a weapon all your life. He was like, no, I can do it. I'm good. I can do it. Okay. Obatala was like, okay. So they began to explain the way to get to Endure Suffering Market and the different customs that one practiced there, etc., etc. So the next day, Ogun was ready to go to Endure Suffering Market. And he waited until he was all alone. And he took his machete and he slid that down one sleeve. He had his arm straight. Yeah. On the way to Endure Suffering Market. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Yeah. Everybody else would walk back. He took his cudgel and he slid that down his sleeve. And he went very stiffly into Endure Suffering Market. He was like, okay. Now, Obakoso said that when he reached the gate, he had to prostrate himself before the gatekeeper. Okay, I'm going to remember that. And Obatala said the same thing. So, okay, we'll get them prostrate before the gatekeeper. So he made his way on. He hobbled on to Endure Suffering Market. And when he reached the gate, the gatekeeper was his favorite food. It was a black dog keeping the gate. And the black dog said, you must prostrate yourself before me. And Ogun was like, prostrate myself before a black dog? I eat you. I eat black dogs for dinner. And the black dog was like, I am the gatekeeper of Endure Suffering Market, and you must prostrate yourself. That was his head rolling. Ogun took his head off. Nobody talked to Ogun like that. His brother is the owner of iron. And all of a sudden, he could hear the crowd. He has killed the gatekeeper! Ogun has killed the gatekeeper! Gather him unto yourselves! He must be punished! And he started running. Oh no! They killed the gatekeeper. Ogun was running, and he ran into the forest. And the brambles of the forest began to pull at his clothes, and they ripped at his clothes until he was naked and all scratched up by the brambles. But he had to continue running because the entire market was following him. He was running, and he realized that he was naked, so he pulled some palm fronds down and made himself a quick skirt to cover his nudity, and he continued to run into the forest. Killed. And Ogun did not receive the wealth of Endure Suffering Market because he forgot the admonishment that he was given. Maki wawabo, lapo wawa. Maki wawabo, lapo wawa. Do not hurry back from anything that requires patience, calmness, ease. Don't hurry back. So when we hear this particular Odu, one of the first things that always strikes me is the need for humility. I am not a person who is big on humility. This is why this is one of the first things that strikes me about this Odu. I think that as people of African descent, and as women, especially of African descent, we have to be very careful about being humble or humble when we should not be. But in this particular Oju,